The world often feels rigged against those who play by the rules, leading many to wonder why honesty is met with stagnation. You work hard, you trust your peers, and you play fair, yet somehow you still find yourself falling behind while others advance. This frustration stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of how power operates, as successful leaders often ignore the rules that hold others back. Most people assume that intelligence is the primary driver of success, but the real secret lies in understanding the mechanics of human nature. Inspired by the observations of Niccolò Machiavelli, we are going to break down 8 psychological lessons that will change your entire perspective. These aren't meant to help you control others, but rather to ensure that you are no longer a pawn in someone else's game. We begin with the first lesson: never reveal your entire hand, because in any competitive environment, information is your most valuable form of leverage. When you explain yourself, defend your every move, or broadcast your future plans, you make yourself incredibly easy for others to predict. Powerful people understand that mystery creates influence, and they know that people naturally respect what they cannot fully read or understand. The smartest person in the room is almost always the one speaking the least, observing more than they are willing to share with others. Moving to our second lesson, we must address the common misconception that adaptability is the same thing as being fake or disingenuous. The strongest individuals are those who can speak differently to various audiences, while keeping their own core values and intentions completely intact. A leader speaks one way to their employees, another way to their investors, and a different way to their family, yet they remain the same. This is not about deception, but about psychological intelligence, which requires you to understand the needs of your audience before you attempt to influence them. Our third lesson focuses on the immense power of emotional detachment, which is the antidote to the manipulation tactics used by so many today. Most manipulation works because people fear loss, whether it is the fear of rejection, the fear of being alone, or the fear of losing approval. The moment you stop needing everyone's validation, you become incredibly difficult to control because you no longer provide them with any emotional leverage. Detachment is not about being cold or unfeeling, but about achieving a state of freedom where you can walk away from any unhealthy situation. When you are truly willing to walk away, people lose the ability to use fear against you, effectively stripping them of their primary weapon. This brings us to our fourth lesson, the realization that silence is almost always significantly stronger than the application of raw force. Weak people constantly try to dominate conversations with noise, but strong people understand that silence is a tool for controlling the room. Silence creates a palpable pressure that makes others uncomfortable, often causing them to talk too much and inadvertently expose their own hidden intentions. Many of history's most powerful negotiators mastered the art of strategic silence, not because they had nothing to say, but because they understood timing. By choosing restraint over impulsive speech, you prove that silence is often a much more effective tool than attempting to force your will. Now, we transition into our fifth lesson, the necessity of understanding the hidden needs that drive every single person you interact with daily. Every person is motivated by something specific, whether it is status, security, recognition, control, or a deep-seated need for love and belonging. Most conversations happen on the surface level, but real influence and true understanding happen underneath, where the actual motivations are hidden from view. When you understand what truly drives someone, you can predict their decisions before they even make them, granting you a massive strategic advantage. This is not about manipulation for the sake of harm, but about developing a high level of psychological awareness to navigate complex social structures. Our sixth lesson reminds us that the world is not black and white, and every decision often carries a cost that must be weighed. Many people believe that every choice is either good or bad, but reality is far more complicated and requires a more nuanced approach. Leaders often face difficult choices where every available option has a cost, and Machiavelli understood that effectiveness sometimes requires making uncomfortable, hard decisions. The goal is not to become a ruthless person, but to learn how to think beyond surface appearances and focus entirely on long-term consequences. This leads us to our seventh lesson: the importance of controlling your exposure in a world that is obsessed with sharing every private detail. In today's digital age, people reveal their plans, their emotions, and their private lives, then wonder why others use that information against them later. Strategic people understand the value of selective visibility, which is not about living in total secrecy, but about maintaining control over your own narrative. The less unnecessary information people have about you, the fewer weapons they can use against you when the situation becomes competitive or tense. Finally, we reach our eighth lesson: the critical importance of focusing on outcomes rather than feeding your own ego or need for validation. Most people waste years of their lives trying to prove they are right, while smart people focus entirely on achieving the desired results. Arguments rarely change lives or alter the course of history, but actions and tangible outcomes have the power to reshape your entire reality. The most dangerous competitors are rarely the loudest ones in the room. They are the ones quietly obsessed with the final, measurable outcomes. While others chase validation and social approval, these individuals are busy building leverage and positioning themselves for long-term success and stability. Machiavelli's greatest lesson was never about the mechanics of manipulation, but about the fundamental importance of understanding how reality actually works. Because the moment you understand how power functions in the real world, you stop becoming a passive victim of it and start taking control. The goal of these lessons is not to become a feared figure, but to become an individual who is impossible to deceive or manipulate. You are learning to see through the masks that people wear, identifying the underlying motivations that dictate their behavior in both work and life. By mastering these 8 principles, you are effectively sharpening your mind against the influence of those who would seek to control your path. Think of these lessons as a shield, protecting your autonomy while allowing you to navigate social hierarchies with a newfound sense of clarity. The world will continue to operate on these hidden rules whether you choose to acknowledge them or not, so you might as well learn. True power is not found in dominating others, but in the quiet, steady mastery of your own reactions and your own strategic positioning. In a world full of impulsive emotional reactions, the ability to remain calm, detached, and observant is perhaps the rarest form of power. You are now equipped with tools to observe the game from a distance, seeing the moves before they are even played by others. As you move forward, remember that information is always your currency, and your silence is your most effective defensive and offensive strategy. Adaptability will allow you to move through different social circles with ease, while your emotional detachment keeps you grounded in your own values. Never let your ego dictate your actions, as the result is always more important than the temporary satisfaction of winning a trivial argument. By focusing on outcomes, you ensure that your energy is spent on things that actually move the needle toward your personal and professional goals. The path to being dangerously smart is not about being malicious, but about being aware, prepared, and entirely in control of your own destiny. Take these lessons, apply them to your daily interactions, and watch how the dynamics of your relationships and your career begin to shift. You are no longer playing by the rules that lead to stagnation. You are now playing by the rules that lead to true influence. Master these principles, and you will find that you have become the architect of your own success in a world that finally makes sense. Moving beyond individual restraint, we must now turn our attention to the mechanics of human nature and the reality of decision-making. We often interact with others on a superficial level, missing the complex psychological currents that actually drive their behavior and choices. Lesson 5 teaches us that beneath every conversation lies a hidden need, such as a deep-seated desire for status or personal security. Most people walk through life ignoring these underlying motivations, but the strategically aware person sees them as the keys to influence. By recognizing these fundamental drives, you gain the ability to anticipate the decisions of others long before they are actually made. This is not about malicious manipulation. It is about developing the psychological awareness necessary to navigate complex social and professional landscapes. When you understand what truly moves a person, you stop reacting to their words and start understanding their true underlying intent. Lesson 6 challenges the common binary view of good versus bad, suggesting that effective leaders must look past mere surface appearances. Reality is rarely black and white. It is a nuanced spectrum where every decision carries a specific cost and a consequence. Machiavelli understood that the world does not always reward the virtuous, and sometimes effective leadership requires making very uncomfortable choices. Instead of moralizing, you must weigh the actual consequences of your choices, focusing on what works rather than what simply feels virtuous. This shift in perspective allows you to move beyond the trap of binary thinking and see the world as it truly is. Lesson 7 highlights the critical importance of controlling your exposure, especially in an era where oversharing has become the modern norm. In our digital age, people broadcast their plans, emotions, and private lives, often without realizing they are handing others the keys. Strategic people understand the value of selective visibility, ensuring that their personal information does not become a weapon for others. By maintaining strategic visibility, you ensure that others have fewer weapons to use against you, keeping your true intentions safely guarded. It is not about living in total secrecy, but about exercising control over what you reveal and to whom you reveal it. The final lesson shifts the focus from ego to outcomes, noting that most people waste precious time trying to prove they are right. Arguments rarely change the course of a life or a career, but consistent, calculated actions almost always yield tangible results. The most dangerous competitors are those quietly obsessed with results, ignoring the noise of public opinion to secure their long-term goals. While others chase the fleeting validation of the crowd, the smart strategist is busy building leverage in the shadows. Ultimately, these lessons are not about becoming a villain, but about mastering yourself to become impossible to deceive in a reactive world. The goal is not to dominate those around you, but to cultivate a level of self-mastery that makes you truly untouchable. When you understand how power functions, you stop being a victim of it and start navigating your own path with clarity. By focusing on outcomes rather than ego, you align your energy with the reality of the world instead of your own desires. This is the rarest form of power, found not in the loudest voice in the room, but in the most controlled mind. As we conclude this exploration, remember that Machiavelli's true legacy was the demand for a clear-eyed view of human nature. The world will always be full of emotional reactions, but you now possess the tools to remain steady and strategically aware. Carry these lessons with you as a shield, protecting your intentions while you work toward your most meaningful and significant objectives. True intelligence is the ability to see the game for what it is and then choosing to play it on your terms. Consider how often you have been swayed by the emotions of others and how much power you surrendered in those moments. By reclaiming your emotional detachment, You effectively remove the primary mechanism that others use to influence your decision-making process. Silence, as we discussed, is not merely the absence of speech. It is a deliberate tool used to create pressure and clarity. When you stop rushing to fill the silence, you give yourself the space to process information that others are desperate to reveal. This patience is a hallmark of the powerful, who understand that time is often the most valuable resource in any negotiation. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice these principles, refining your ability to read the room and control your own exposure. Do not feel pressured to implement every lesson at once. Start by observing the hidden needs of those you interact with daily. Notice how people react when you remain silent, or how they shift their tone when you detach from their emotional bait. These small experiments will reveal the truth of these Machiavellian principles in your own life and your own social circles. The world is not controlled by the strongest, but by those who understand the subtle levers of human behavior and motivation. You are now equipped to see beyond the surface, to identify the hidden agendas, and to focus on the outcomes that matter. This journey toward becoming dangerously smart is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining your own strategic approach. Remember that the most effective leaders are those who can adapt their delivery without ever compromising their core personal values. It is a balance of flexibility and integrity, a combination that makes you both highly effective and deeply respected by others. As you move forward, keep your plans close and your observations sharp, always prioritizing results over the need for external validation. The path to power is paved with self-awareness, and you have already taken the most important step by questioning the status quo. Continue to study the people around you, not to judge them, but to understand the patterns that dictate their every move. When you see the patterns, you see the future, and that foresight is the ultimate advantage in any competitive environment. Stay focused on your goals, remain detached from the drama, and let your results speak louder than any argument ever could. The world is waiting for those who can navigate its complexities with a cool head and a clear strategic vision. You have the capacity to be that person, to rise above the noise and to command your own destiny with precision. Take these 8 lessons as a foundation and build upon them as you gain more experience in the real world. True power is not a destination, but a way of living, thinking, and interacting with the complex reality around you. Be patient with yourself as you integrate these habits, knowing that mastery is a result of consistent, daily practice and reflection. Every situation is a classroom, and every person you meet is a teacher of human nature. If you are willing to look, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your intentions protected, for this is the way to true, lasting influence. The lessons of Machiavelli are timeless because human nature remains constant, regardless of the era or the technological advancements. By mastering these psychological principles, you are aligning yourself with the fundamental truths that have guided leaders for centuries. Go forth with this knowledge and use it to build a life defined by your own terms, your own goals, and your own power. You are now ready to navigate the world with a new level of awareness, ensuring that you are always the master of your fate.